I don't have my regular lapel mic on, so it might sound a little bit different. The battery died in it, so I'm just going off my shotgun mic. But I wanted to explain a few things in this video before I get into the numbers for why you're going to see what the numbers came out to. I went into this thinking, logically, I should make more power than what I did last time with the improved fuel pumps, the Black 306 fuel pressure driver module, all that put together, and the run being cut short by 1,000 RPMs. All that combined, I theoretically should make more power now with similar weather conditions, which today it was. It did not come out that way, but there's a reason for that. I found out from the place that I went to today, it's the same dyno that was done before. Not the same exact one, but the same type and the same type of calibration and all that. But what I found out today was that when my car was dynoed last time, and apparently quite a few tuners around here do this, because the guy that I went to today, he said he does the same thing when he tunes cars. You get your dyno sheet, and that's the number that it makes. You're all happy, your car put out, whatever number that it put out. And before the car gets unstrapped from the dyno, usually anywhere from 2 to 4 degrees, 2 to 3, right around there, of timing is taken out as a safety measure, so that if you get like a batch of bad gas, or especially with a boosted application, you get in really, really cool weather and you're really making a lot more boost than what it really should be, because it typically makes around 17 to 18, but in colder weather it gets to 20. And there's that safety factor put in there to protect you and to protect the tuner from not having cars that get blown up all the time because of bad gas or anything like that. So these numbers today are with anywhere, and I don't know how much timing was taken out of this before it was off the dyno. Could have been, I'm going to guess 2 to 3 is probably the safe number to really go with. But I'm going to get to the dyno runs now. Also have my friend's turbo Foxbody in here too. After I'm done with everything with my car, I'll show the runs of his car and with the power that made. It actually made more torque than my Terminator with a 306 pushrod engine. It's crazy, but that turbo is friggin' nuts on that car. But here are the runs with the Cobra. These are uncorrected. I'll explain to you why they're uncorrected and why I'm using these numbers after the runs in the video.
didn't dip down that time either. I feel like you're still climbing.
So as you can see from the first run, it made 624 uncorrected. And the second run, but second run, I'll get to just a second. The first run, it had that little blip at the top, and I'm like, I really expected it to make more, even with knowing that the timing was taken out of this from when it was tuned originally with the Whipple 2.3 on it. So they said, do you want to do another run? I said, yeah, do another run. And that blip wasn't in there, as you can see from the graph. That little blip is gone, and it made 652. And so that pretty much puts me on par of what it made last time. It made 658, and that was with all the timing that was in there before. That was its max power with the max timing that it had. And then that was also with the bad fuel pumps, the run cut shorter at 1,000 RPMs, and all the things that were fighting against me. But then he pulls out 2 to 3 degrees of timing, and I go back, same kind of dyno, and I pull relatively the same power, 658 versus 653. But if you take 2 to 3 degrees of timing, which 1 degree, general rule is 20 horsepower, so you add in that power, and you're looking at close to 700 at the wheels with this thing for what it would have made that day when it was originally tuned if I had had the proper fuel pumps and if the run wasn't cut short. So it's a really weird things going on as far as how it was tuned and everything else. When the car was tuned with a 2.3 Whipple, he put a tune in the car for the current pumps that I have. I already talked to Pete. He said, I'll put a tune in there for these pumps. You just have to go to Cobra Dan, order them through him, he'll throw them in for you, and that's what I did. So I didn't have to get it retuned once the pumps went in, the tune was already in there, I decided to upload the tune. As far as uncorrected goes, why am I using uncorrected numbers? Everyone's doing this in the comments right now, or throwing stuff as I'm talking about this because I'm using uncorrected numbers. I friggin' hate corrected numbers. It's so pointless. I dynoed this car today at 59 degrees outside and a pretty low elevation for where I live. Why am I going to hamper myself with a correction factor that puts it at 70 to 72 degrees in an elevation that I do not live at? That is incredibly stupid. I understand why correction factors exist. It makes a level playing field for everybody. But fuck that. I don't care about a level playing field. If you live in Florida where it's humid as hell and hot as hell, your numbers are your numbers. And it doesn't matter. I don't care about the correction factor because as soon as you unstrap the car from the dyno, it makes the raw numbers for the temperature that day and the elevation that you live at. The corrected numbers are a fantasy fairy tale number that never exists except for when you're on the dyno. Any other time, that condition never exists where you're at that exact same elevation and you're at that exact same temperature. It's completely stupid. People say all the time, go to the track to verify your dyno numbers, and I 100% agree with that. What you're verifying is what the car makes for power that day. You're not verifying what your correction numbers are because that number doesn't exist anymore unless you're running at the exact same elevation and the exact same temperatures where the correction factor is at. So that's why I don't use it. I want to know what this car makes on any given day depending on the temperature and everything else. If I dynoed this car 3 months ago in July, it's not going to make 653, and that's fine. But I want to know what it's actually making for power, not some fantasy number of a weather condition and elevation that I don't live at. And that's just my personal thought. And if someone completely disagrees with that and has a problem with it, I don't fucking care. It doesn't matter to me, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm going to go on based off what this car makes with these mods on this day that it was dynoed, and that's what it made, 652. And if someone's got a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you. That's your issue to sort out, not mine. So with that being said, if the timing was put back in for what was taken out, and like I said, I don't know, you're looking at anywhere from just below 700 to over 700 that this car is making if the timing was put back in that it had on the day that it was tuned. But I understand why they pull it out. It makes a lot of sense to pull out a couple of degrees before you send someone off on the dyno, and you know, they do stupid things with the car, and it protects the car, the owner, and the dyno owner in the shop. So I understand that. But that's the car for what it made today, and that's the numbers I'm going with for what this car makes. Some days it's lower, some days it's higher. It all depends on the weather. And another thing that people don't realize is your weather conditions for that day will dictate how much power the car makes, either direction, plus or minus, more so than your correction factor. So people run around with their correction factors all the time when you're probably making more or you're making less depending on what the weather is. So it's, screw those numbers, I don't care. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave it a like. If you're new here, the sub button is down below. I do have some more Cobra stuff coming up. I've just been really busy, haven't had time to record a lot of videos. I have a big car show that I'm going to try to get to. I don't know if I'll be able to make it or not, but that's the plan. I do have a long range rifle competition update. I'll be having that video come out fairly soon. I still have to record it, but I'll try to not skip so many weeks with uploads. Things have just been really hectic and busy lately. But if you are new here, the sub button is down below, and above all else, thanks for watching.